Welcome to the Ola Hawatmeh Show on American One. Today, my special guest, Hannah Faulkner, 16 years old, dedicating her life to making a difference, traveling as a public speaker. One of the biggest challenges we have today in America is the direction our country's going in, and also the direction our children as well. Stay tuned. So back on the Ola Hawatmeh Show on American One, my special guest, Hannah Faulkner, traveling the country, making a difference as a public speaker. Hannah, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
So 16 years old, I talk about, you're a freedom fighter. You're about God, family, country. And one of the biggest challenges we have in America today is reaching our youth, reaching teens. And what made you decide to be a public speaker on this amazing mission that you're on?
Yeah, well, I'm a Christian and I've been raised in a very solid home. I'm so grateful to have parents that have really just raised my siblings and I up in a home where we're actually talking about these issues. I believe that's the greatest issue facing our country right now, and that's the brokenness of the nuclear family between one man and one woman. And so really ever since I could remember, my family and I have just it's not like a schedule or anything, but we watch the news, we talk about what's happening in our world. And I remember being around the age of 13 and I was seeing this spiritual war that we're in. I was seeing the issues that were being talked about on the news, but I didn't know what to do about it. And so I was praying. I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do about this? And so it was totally a God thing. I'm sure you're familiar with Turning Point USA. Well, one of the ladies from Turning Point USA came to my homeschool tutorial and just kind of explained a little bit about Turning Point. And so I started a Turning Point chapter. And it was really small. I think we had 5 members. And then last August of 2022, my 7-year-old sister at the time was paralyzed in a freak swimming accident. And because of her accident, we were placed in 6 medical facilities. And so during my family and I's time in these facilities, we were really able to see how much the medical industry and frankly, the United States government was imposing these ideologies onto the youth. And so I actually remember one day we went into the pediatric appointment and one of the girl in residency, she was in residency to be a pediatrician. And she came into the room with a big sticker on her left chest saying, my pronouns are they, them. And really, it put stuff into perspective of these people are supposed to educate parents on medical advice for their children, but can't even tell us whether or not they are male or female. And so I thought to myself, we are literally bowing to the mentally insane in our society. And so I had to do something and I prayed again. I was like, Lord, I have to do something about this. What do I do? And I really felt called to do a Teens Against Gender Mutilation rally. And so I held that rally in January of this year with Chloe Cole. She's 19 years old, going through menopausal symptoms at 19 because of what the medical industry has done to her, lying to her, sending her down this path of destruction. And so I ended up joining the Reawaken America tour with Don Jr., Clay Clark, General Flynn, Mike Lindell at 15. So that was almost a year ago. And then since then, I really have just found my calling and passion for speaking the truth, specifically, from a stage, because that's what I believe what the Lord has called me for this season, is to travel the country speaking to people that both love me and hate me. I've actually had, I had the rally. We had 300 protesters come out. So that was pretty insane. There were several videos that went viral from the liberals coming out and just screaming, and it's crazy. But wow. That's kind of been my journey, and yeah, now I'm just doing what I can as a 16-year-old patriot.
You're absolutely amazing. I'm faith-based as well, and I love hearing your story. And I watched some of your videos, and that's one thing that's missing is faith. I mean, and I can't believe I have to remind myself, you're 16 years old. You're 16 years old. I mean, your parents must be so proud of you because what is the biggest issues of reaching the teens, and how can you get them to actually understand, what America was founded on, values, ethics, because they don't want to listen to it. And if anyone can, it's a beautiful young girl like yourself out there speaking the truth, as you say. How do you reach them?
I really believe it starts with the parents. And that's why I always have a message to the parents, because I can't reach my generation. I'm 16, but I still can't reach my peers without going directly to the parents, because they're always reliant on what will my parents say about this? What are my parents' opinions? Because we've kind of created a generation that can't think for themselves. I mean, I just saw a statistic the other day that showed 18% of Gen Z, 18% of my generation is proud to live in the United States of America, which is a very disgusting and sad statistic. And it really should scare us and frighten us all, because this is the generation that's coming up to lead our country. And they hate our country. They hate everything our country is founded upon. Because they really don't know what it was founded upon. You look at the educational system, they don't want you to know what our country was founded upon. They, are teaching our children that our founders were deists, if they were atheists, or they didn't have a religion at all. And that's not true. I mean, if you look at the founding documents, the 3 branches of government come directly from Isaiah. I mean, the most quoted book out of our founding fathers was the Bible, but I really believe that it all starts in the home. Like, it starts with the parents. And so my message to parents is always to take your kids out of public school, homeschool them. That's the best thing you can do for your children. Stop sending them into the lion's den with these woke ideologies, and homeschool them, or send them to private school. I mean, some private schools aren't really that great either, but it's better than this public educational system that was created to indoctrinate the children. And so, yeah, I really believe that parents need to educate their children. They need to talk to their children. Parents these days really have like a disconnect from their family or from their children. I mean, you look at the house, most parents or most families have a TV in every room. Everyone's on their phones. Nobody's really talking to one another. And actually, one of the things I realized is parents were constantly coming to me and telling me, Hannah, like, we send our kids off to college, and, they have morals that you have, they're conservative, they're Christian. We send them off to college and they immediately lose their entire moral compass. And I believe, again, it's because their parents didn't have their hearts. And so if the parents listening, if you do not have your child's heart, as soon as they face their first storm, that's when their heart is going to get captured, and they're going to face these issues. And because they're so ignorant to them, they're going to fall prey to the lies. And so, again, yeah, I just believe it all starts in the home and with your parents.
What's a message that you have for teens that will watch this show?
Well, first off, my favorite quote from John Adams is always stand on principle, even if you stand alone. And so no matter your age, because I do believe that regardless if you're 8 years old or 80 years old, objective truth applies to everyone. The objective truth that there are only 2 genders and you can't change your sex, no matter your age or ethnicity or where you come from, that still applies to everyone. And so recognize that there is objective truth. It's not my truth, your truth, it's the truth. But yeah, always stand on principle. Don't back down. Don't be afraid of being called names. And I know that's a common thing is people don't want to take a stand because they're afraid of being called a racist or a homophobic or a bigot. And really, my response to that is, I get called those names all the time. And I say, okay, sure. You know what? Call me those names. But let's get back to the point, because they use those names. They name call because they want to attack our character and get away from the real issue. So get back to the point. Stop letting them deflect, but keep standing on principle and don't back down, because I truly believe that with one truth teller, we can start a chain reaction. I'll just tell one story. I just got a message the other day from a girl who was an atheist. She hated God, and she was a pro-Biden fan in 2020, pro-Biden fan. And she messaged me the other day and said, "Hey, Hannah, I just want to let you know that I am actually no longer an atheist. I'm pro-Trump now because I've seen how much the educational system is lying to me, has lied to me my whole life. And I now want to get involved. I want to get involved with Turning Point USA. And I want to fight for the truth so that more kids like me don't have to be lied to and accept the lie." So those are the kind of messages that encourage me. And I just believe that if more teens will continue to take a stand, more of those messages and more of those stories will continue to happen and flourish. So
I love that, Hannah, standing strong with faith. Let's say someone wants to hire you as a public speaker, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I have Instagram. It's Hannah Faulkner 1776, and they can message me, reach out to me there. And then I actually am starting a show. It's the Hannah Faulkner Show. It'll be on LFA TV. I'm actually launching that this Saturday. And then I also just launched my website. It's cultureof1776.com. And then I have Twitter, Hannah F1776, and then a YouTube, Hannah Faulkner. We'll see how long till they ban me there. But yeah.
Well, you are such an inspiration. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.